Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started with our Chapter 1 study guide. This video is just here if you need support. So basically, we're taking a negative 12 and a negative 5, and we're adding them together, which would give you a negative 17. Oh, I grabbed the pen that was dead. I thought I threw that away. All right, and then here, and guys, remember, you can always use your calculator. So just a negative 12 plus negative 5, and you would get negative 17. Here we have negative 7 and negative 18, which would give us, positive 18, which would give us a positive 11. Remember, you always want to keep the sign of the bigger number. Here we have a negative 2 minus 11. Some of you, it might help to think of negative 2 plus a negative 11, because you keep that sign in front of it, which would give you a negative 13. Okie doke. Next, we're going to do a 45 plus negative 18, which would give us 27. You can think of that as 45 minus 18 if you like, and get 27 that way. All right, number 5, we see that we have two negatives side by side. Two negatives side by side become positive, so we have negative 14 plus 19, and that would give us a positive 5. Okay, this one, tricky one. See how this time the negative is inside of the parentheses? So that's technically negative 4 times negative 4. You include the negative when you square it, which gives you a positive 16. Again, the negative is inside of the parentheses for number 7, but it would be negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Since your exponent's odd, it's going to stay negative. That's just a little tip here. So negative 64. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Next, just a little blast from the past. 0 can't ever be on the bottom. If 0 is on the bottom, then your answer is undefined. I think about it, that nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. As soon as he's fallen off the wall, he's not sitting up on that wall. He breaks, there's yolk everywhere. So it's not good. It would be undefined. However, if Humpty is sitting on the wall, like he is right here, then you just know your answer is 0. 0 divided by 8 is 0. Okay, so for here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see that x, I'm going to use substitution. I'm going to see that x is a negative 7 and y is a negative 3. So I'm going to go ahead and plug them in. And remember, whenever I substitute, I put parentheses around that number. So I'm going to have a negative 3 squared, which is where that y was, minus parentheses 8 minus 7. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with GEMDAS, right? My grouping, my GEMDAS. My grouping symbol. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to see that two negatives side by side make a positive. So you could start with these groupings too. I don't know why I started with this one. I'm feeling a bit goofy, I suppose. 15. 8 and 7 would be 15. And now if we're going to square negative 3, well, negative 3 times negative 3 gives me a positive 9. So now my problem is 9 minus 15, which would become a negative 6. I keep the sign of the bigger number. Since 15 is bigger than 9, it's a bigger number. Okay, again, I got to go by GEMDAS. So first I'm going to start inside these parentheses. 3 plus 4 is going to give me 7. That's going to be squared. Minus 42 divided by 6 minus 20. Next up, I'm going to square this. So I'm going to have 49 minus 42 divided by 6 minus 20. All right, according to GEMDAS, it would be my division that would be next. So negative 42 divided by 6, that would be 49 minus 7 minus 20. And now I can just go in order. So I would do 49 minus 7, which would give me 42, and then minus 20, and 42 minus 20 is 22. Okie doke. So now we're going to do 24. And again, we're going to start with these parentheses. One thing I want you guys to know is there's a little 1 out here that we don't always write. So we can distribute that in, which would give us 82 plus 4 plus, because we distribute that in, negative 1 times negative 110 would be plus 110 minus 15. And since it's all addition and subtraction, we just work left to right. So 82 plus 4 would be 86 plus 110 minus 15. 86 and 10 would be 196 minus 15 would give me the answer of 181. All right, more orders of operation, more GEMDAS here. We're going to start in our innermost parentheses, so that would be 2 plus 4. I'm going to have 2 squared minus brackets 7 minus 2 plus 4 is 6 squared. Okay, now I'm actually going to square that. So I'm going to have 2 squared minus 7 minus 36. And those are all in brackets. So now I can go ahead and square this. 4 minus what was in brackets, 7 minus 36 would be one second, guys. That's where I made the mistake right here. It's 2 to the 4th, not 2 to the 2nd. So 2 to the 4th is 16. All right, and then minus a negative 29. But again, we have 2 negatives side by side, so those become a positive. So it's technically 16 plus 29, which gives me 45. Okay, let's keep up with the magnificent order of operations. We are going to do 5 squared plus 10 divided by 5 minus, and 2 minus 7 would be negative 5. Okay, so again, we're going to follow our order of operations. Exponents is first, so 25 plus 10 divided by 5 minus negative 5. We'll divide this bit first, so we'll have 25 plus 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then I'm going to just look at these two negatives side by side and write plus 5. So now we have 25 plus 2, which is 27. 27 plus 5 is 32, and we are good to go. All right, next up here, it looks a little intimidating. We're just going to take care of the top part first, and then the bottom part second. So what we'll do here is we'll have 9 squared plus 5 minus 7, which is going to give us a negative 2, and then we'll square that. Okay, from there, 9 squared is 81 plus negative 2 squared is 4, so we will get 85. Right, now down here at the bottom, we're going to do the square root first, okay? So the square root of 121 is 11 minus 3 times 2. We have to use the order of operations here, which would be 3 times 2, which is 6. So 11 minus 6 would give us 5. So what we have now here is we have 85 that was on top, and now on the bottom, our denominator is 5. And when we do 85 over 5, that's kind of a division problem or something that can be simplified, and that would give you 17. moving right along. Okay, so simplify using the distributive property. You guys might be panicked because you're like, oh no, it's a fraction. I don't know what your calculator looks like, but I will show you one of mine. And what you can do is you can use fractions in this calculator. So you would hit your negative sign, which is down here. Make sure you hit the negative, not the subtraction. So negative, and you would do 3. And this button right here where it's A, B/C, you would hit that. So you would have negative 3 over 4, and you're distributing it into these parentheses. So times negative 16, and that would give you 12. So you would have a 12x when you distributed this. Okay, same thing here. Negative 3/4 times 4. So negative 3 over 4 times 4. And you would get 3, a negative 3. So minus 3y. And then here, our last one, it's going to be a negative 3/4 times a negative 12, a constant. It has no variable next to it. So negative 3 over 4 times negative 12. And that would give you a positive 9. So it's an expression, right? There's no equal sign. This is as simplified as it can go. It would be 12x minus 3y plus 9. All right, and then we will move along and gets a little bit trickier, right? So here, there's nothing to combine in these parentheses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative 2. All right, I'm going to multiply it by all of these things. So I'm going to have 5, and then negative 2 times 10x is going to be minus 20x squared. Negative 2 times a negative 5 is going to be plus 10x. And then negative 2 times positive 14 would be a negative 28. And then minus x squared and plus 11x. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look for like terms. I see right here that I have a negative 20x squared, and I see that right here I have a negative x squared. So I can do a negative 20x squared and a negative 1x squared, and I'll get negative 21x squared. All right, then I see next that I have just two x terms. I have a positive 10x and a positive 11x. So I would do 10x and 11x, and I would get 21x. And then I see, lo and behold, I have two constants, a negative 28 and a positive 5. So I would do 5 minus 28, which would give me negative 23. I'd write it in standard order if I can. So I always start with the highest exponent, negative 21x squared plus 21x minus 23. The constants will always be last. Okay, keep moving along. All right, inside my parentheses, again, I have nothing I can combine. So I'm going to distribute this negative 1 right here. All right, and I'm going to end up with a 10x, and I'm going to distribute that to the 5, so minus 5y. Distribute it to the negative 7x, plus 7x, because a negative 1 and a negative 7 is a positive, minus 10. I distribute it to the 10 also. So negative 1 times 10 is a negative 10. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute to these two terms. So 5 and a negative 3 is going to give me a negative 15x. And 5 and 9 is going to be plus 45y. I get to go on the combining like terms hunt now. So I have my 10x. Let me see if I have another x. I have a 7x. All right, and I have a negative 15. Well, when I combine those, I end up with a positive 2x. So I have 10 and 7, which is 17. 17 minus 15 is a positive 2x. So I've taken care of those. The next one I'm going to look at is a y. And I look and I see that I have a negative 5y here and a positive 45y there. So what that's going to do is that's going to give me a positive 40y, because a positive 45 and a negative 5 will give me a positive 40y. And lastly, I just have my lone constant that can't combine with anybody this time. So I just bring down this negative 10. Okie doke. Just a couple more problems left. So this one is just combining like terms. I'm going to start with my highest exponent first. I have a 3x cubed and a negative 2x cubed. When I combine those, it's technically x cubed. If you want to write the 1 in front of it, by all means you can. You can just say 1x cubed. And then I see that I have a 2x squared, which would come next, right? Because highest exponent and then lowest exponent. So plus 2x squared, because there's nothing to combine it with. And then lastly, I have a 10z and a 4z, which would give me a 14z. Okay, now again here, I'm going to start with my highest exponents just so I can write them down here in order, which is going to be x squared. So I have a negative 3x squared, I have an x squared, and a 2x squared. Well, this would be a positive 3x squared, and this is a negative 3x squared. So if I have negative 3x squared and a positive 3x squared, they cancel out and equal 0. So these all go away. Okay. Well, then I'll move to my x's. So I have a 5x and a 2x. Well, 5 plus 2 isn't too bad. 7x. And then lastly, I have my constant that again is all by himself. So I will just bring down that positive 8. And sorry, there's a few more questions. Somehow I was getting ahead of myself. Okay, well, look in here, and there's nothing to combine. But Mrs. Black, wait, there's a squared and a squared. Yes, there is, but that's an m and that's an n, so they're different. What we're going to have to do is distribute this 3 to all the terms in here. So I'm going to bring down this negative 4m squared plus 6, and I'm going to distribute this 3. So plus 3m squared minus 12n plus 24n squared. So 3 times 8 is 24. And then I'll bring down the rest of these terms. So plus 10n minus 12 plus n squared. Okay, now I get to look for like terms. I'm going to start with go in alphabetical order. So m comes before n. So I'll look for the highest m exponents, which are right here. Negative 4m and a positive 3m. When I combine those, I would end up with a negative m squared. If you want to write the 1 in front of it, you can. Now I'm going to look for the other high exponent, which is n squared, because its highest exponent, so and alphabetical, which is going to be 24n squared and n squared. Well, they're both positive, so, and there's a 1 here, so 24 plus 1 would give me a plus 25n squared. I'm going to cross these off so I don't get mixed up. I'm going to go back to m to see if I have any other m's to keep it in alphabetical, and I don't, so now I'll move on to n. I have a negative 12n and a positive 10n, which should give me minus 2n. think I do anyways. Oh, I made a mistake here. This should be 6, right? 6n. Oops. Okay. So again, I have my negative 6n and my positive 10n, which should be a positive 4n. And then this time I have two constants, getting a little tongue-tied talking this long. A negative 12 and a positive 6 would give me a negative 6. Okie doke. Last one. Use the rectangle to find the perimeter. That means we add all the sides. So you can do it one of two ways. The sides opposite each other, this side and this side, they're the same. So what you can do is you can do 2 times 8 minus 2x squared plus 12x. All right, and that because there's two sides, that will tell you what these two sides are added together. And you can add it to right here, 2 times x squared minus 2 plus 11x. That way you're taking care of one side, two side right here, and one side, two side right here. So let's go ahead and do it. It's a little bit easier than just adding all the sides. So I'm going to have 16 minus 4x squared plus 24x. And then distribute over here, 2x squared minus 4 plus 22x. I'm going to start with my highest exponent, which is going to be a x squared. And I will do negative 4 and a positive 2. When I combine those, a negative 4 and a positive 2, I'll get negative 2x squared. So I've taken care of those. Whoops, sorry, I'm adding these together. And then next I'll do my x's. So I have a positive 24x and a positive 22, which is going to give me a plus 46x. And lastly, I have a positive 16 and a negative 4. When I combine those, I get a plus 12. Okay, so our last problem, Sean solved a math problem on his homework. He showed you his work so you could check it. Read the question below and look at his work carefully. If he is correct, write that he is correct. However, if he made a mistake, circle the mistake and explain what he did wrong. So, where Sean went wrong is right here. He squared 9 perfectly and got 81, but he forgot to divide. What he did is he needed to divide this negative 4 and this negative 2, but instead he did 81 minus 4 and, whoops, you can't see. Instead he did 81 minus 4 and got 7, and then took 2 plus 8, which was 10, and divided it that way. He totally forgot to divide by negative 4 divided by 2. So he forgot to divide negative 4 by 2. What his work would look like would be, let's write it over to the side here, 81, and then 4 divided by 2 would be 2 minus 2 plus 8, which would give us 79 plus 8, which would give us 87 as the correct answer. He forgot GEMDAS. Or his order of operations. All right, guys, that's it for the study guide video. Talk to you soon. Bye.